that is. The rescue triangle is a dynamic. It's a theory. It's an idea that in psychology it's called transference and countertransference. If you're familiar with that, and what it is three different roles that two people can move in and out of. So you have two people. You have the helper and you have the victim. I mean, it doesn't have to be an actual crime victim, but it could just be somebody who needs your help. And so one of you is the help is has a rescue mentality. The helper thinks of themselves as a rescuer, and they're going to help this person who needs them. All right. There's two people, three roles they move in and out of, and I'll explain. So the triangle, as I said, it represents two people. And the roles that they can move in and out of are persecutor, rescuer, and victim. And these roles can interlock, and there's always somebody on top who seems to have more power. And usually, of course, that's the helper, and somebody on the bottom. And we want to avoid that because we can't get into the triangle if we're doing, 50-50 partnership, which is what we should be doing. And the relationship can move around the triangle. This is an unhealthy helping relationship, but if we don't know about this, sometimes we can fall into it before we realize it. So the rescuer is the person who helps another person who comes to them who's overwhelmed for some reason. So say I'm the rescuer. I step in and I say, I can help you. Just do what I say. Everything will be fine. And, I have control of the situation in a way because I'm a nice person and I'm kind of on top here. I'm the helper. Everybody's happy. I feel like I'm needed and important and in charge. And she feels like she's got somebody to take care of her. This is setting up a disaster, but this happens a lot especially with people who aren't professional counselors or social workers who haven't been trained in these kinds of dynamics, find themselves experiencing them. And, victim advocates who work at shelters are a great example of that. But see, the rescuer, sometimes maybe I get tired of doing it all. Maybe I feel like I'm doing all the work and I'm shouldering all the responsibilities, and she's not pulling her weight. She's not doing anything. She's not appreciating everything I'm doing for her. I tell her what to do. She doesn't do it. And I start to get kind of fed up with her, angry, resentful. Why does she do that? Doesn't she realize how much I've done for her? Why would she go back to her abuser when, I've helped her get into the shelter. I've given her money. I let her live at my house, or, any of these things. Now I start to resent her. Well, bam, suddenly I'm in the persecutor role, and she sees me as her persecutor now. She gets angry with me and resentful at me. And it doesn't have to be a big thing, but when that shift happens in a helping relationship, look out, because both people are in a bad place and feel bad. It's not fun to be there. And the helper will feel like, look at everything I've done, and the victim will feel like, I might as well just still be with my abuser if I'm going to be treated like this. If you haven't had this experience, well, I'm happy for you. But let me just say it happens to us, most of us at some point, because we're givers. And sometimes we work harder on other people's lives than they do. And it's not a good idea. The message underneath this kind of behavior and the anger that usually doesn't come out real clearly is, why don't you take some responsibility? Why don't you do your part? Why am I working harder than you are to help you? Why don't you appreciate what I'm doing for you? And then the victim really feels like they're being, abused. But I feel like I'm being abused by her because she's using me and not appreciating me and taking advantage of me. Does that make sense? So sometimes the victim gets tired of being the victim. She gets tired of me running the show and telling her what to do. And once in a while, she moves into the persecutor role. So blows up, gets angry, and so this can happen very easily. It's a dysfunctional dynamic that happens with two people, one who needs help and one who wants to give help. So what do we do to avoid it? How do we recognize it? Because this is a setup for compassion fatigue. How do we know if we're rescuing? Well, here's how we know. We can ask ourselves some questions. Do I feel overly involved in this person's life? Am I feeling responsible for their success or failure? Am I trying to solve her problems for her? Am I giving her advice? Am I trying to stop her from feeling upset? Am I working harder than she does on her goals? Am I doing more than 50% of the work towards her goals? And, I don't think it's unusual that we do this. And this could be someone who's dealing with an addiction. I mean, it could be all kinds of things. It's not just someone we're trying to help because they've been abused. How do we know if we might be in that persecutor role? Well, we get irritated by what the person is doing and saying. We keep giving them the same advice over and over and hoping that they'll wake up and do the right thing. I can actually think of somebody that I'm kind of on the triangle with right now, but I try really hard not to be, but it happens to the best of us. Getting impatient with them, acting judgmental towards them, not accepting her behaviors and her choices, avoiding her. You don't take the phone calls, talking down about her to a coworker. And there's a thing called ethical communication that we need to all be using, where we don't talk behind someone's back. We talk directly to the person we have the issue with, and it keeps our integrity intact and keeps us from gossiping. So when a helper gets entangled in any of these roles, they really keep spinning from one to the other, and they destroy any opportunity to have a healthy helping relationship. They've broken it, basically. And it's only the helper that can do this. Because if the helper doesn't have a rescue mentality and work harder on that person's life than they do and do more than their 50%, it's not going to happen. It just accepts this other person's decisions. The good news is once we become aware that we're doing it and we choose to break that cycle, it's not going to happen. So that 50-50 partnership is really important. And when I ran the transitional shelters, I ran 2 faith-based transitional shelters in the 90s. I actually created a document, a form, a 50-50 partnership form, which we both signed. And it said, here's what I can do for you, and here's what I would like to see you do. And together, the 2 of us will do 100% of the work that's needed to get you to where you want to be and to meet your own goals. And if you see me doing more or less than my 50%, or I see you doing any less or more than your 50%, then we agree that we will come together and talk about it. And that's how we keep our relationship healthy and honest and hold each other accountable. And you flatten that triangle. You don't have a hierarchy anymore. The helper's not here and the person needing help isn't here. It's a relationship of mutuality, and it's a partnership. And it's the way it should be. Because we want to do no harm. Ultimately, we want to do no harm. I mean, we want to do good, but at the very least, let's do no harm, right? So some of the things that could protect you are having a supportive community and family, neighborhood, having